The Podbreed Network is strictly for the small podcasts that are up and coming in the vast world of podcasting. Podbreed is made up of many diverse podcasts, coming together to achieve the same goal of being the best damn podcast network on the planet. Find out more at podbreed.com.
There are over 2 million podcasts, but how many of those can massage the mind, elevate the senses, take you to another plateau? Allow me to introduce you to Drea's Point of View, the 10-minute or less podcast that brings you observations and experiences from her perspective.
So, the Super Bowl. Let's talk about it for a minute. Well, not the game itself. I mean, we all know what happened there if you watched it. If you didn't watch it, you know the outcome. Congrats to the Chiefs. I want to talk about the entertainment part. That's what I've always taken an interest in. The commercials have always been a fascination of mine throughout the years, and gradually I've noticed I've liked them less and less, which is a shame considering how much they pay to have those advertisements. And then, of course, there is the entertainment part, the halftime show especially. I am Drea, and I want to thank you for tuning in to Drea's Point of View. This is a short form podcast, and I want to invite you to follow the show on Twitter at Drea Point and at Drea's Point of View on Instagram, Facebook, Clubhouse, and Pinterest. So, starting with the commercials, there was about a handful that caught my attention. And I hope to see some of these after the Super Bowl. And that's what I'm thinking too. I'm like, okay, so people pay all that money to have those for the Super Bowl, but you don't really see them after that. The first one that caught my attention was Serena Williams. Now, she was in 2. I believe Michelob Lights. There was one with her playing golf. That was cute. But the one with Remy Martin, not with, but the one that advertised Remy Martin was the one that I liked. She's giving a motivational speech to different groups, and her voice alone just makes you want to stand up and pay attention. So that was the first of my favorites. And then there was the one with Ben Affleck and J-Lo. So unexpected. This is for Dunkin' Donuts. So Ben is at the drive-thru taking orders, and it was about to end. And then J-Lo pulls up and is like, have you been doing this whenever you say you've been working? Grab me a glazed donut. It was cute. It was, especially when you know their history, because they were together a long time ago, and she had a slew of suitors and marriages, and they got back together, and now they're married. And I remember reading something about her saying that he's her true love, and she went into a spiral of bad relationships after him. So it was really just, I don't know, kind of warmed my heart a little bit to see them together in that commercial. And then there was one of my favorites, Bradley Cooper. Now, anything Bradley Cooper is in, I love, but he was in with his mom, and it was so funny because his mom couldn't remember her lines. So there were so many retakes or outtakes of her trying to get it. It was so authentic, so organic. It was for T-Mobile. I loved it. And I hope they air it again. I know they had a bunch of T-Mobile commercials that night. And then, of course, there was one with Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart. you know, Snoop Dogg is everywhere, so you know he had to have a commercial in there. And I just read that Martha Stewart is 81. Wow, good for her. She's really, her longevity, she looks good. And yeah, she's really doing a lot. I saw her name on something else recently too, but they had a commercial for Skechers. Skechers slip-ons, I believe, or slip-ins. And they showed Snoop with different types of Skechers on, and then he's like in an office, like a political office, and she tells him to get his feet off the desk. It's pretty cute. You could check all of these out on YouTube. And last but not least is the only commercial I enjoyed without a celebrity. It was for Kia. It was called Binky Dad, where the family's checking in somewhere and the kid is screaming because he needs his binky or his pacifier. So the dad drives all over town and everybody's rooting for him, calling him Binky Dad with posters on the freeway. And he goes to get it, brings it back, and the baby doesn't want it because the mom was like, he wanted the blue one. So he had to go back out again. Now that, I don't know, that was kind of cute. So check them out on YouTube if you can, or just let me know what your favorite commercial was. Now on to the entertainment for the evening. I want to start out with the beautiful, incomparable Sheryl Lee Ralph. It's definitely her season because she's in everything. She's all over. She's definitely winning, and I'm so happy for her. She sang the Black National Anthem, and it really, I don't know, she got mixed reviews about it because, one, you've got people commenting on the fact that she actually sang that, and then you got others wondering if it was live or not, if she lip-synced, and her response was, does it matter? And I'm thinking, okay, she sounded good. I didn't even think about that when I was watching her. I was just so in awe of how well she was put together. Everything from her hair to her wardrobe, her makeup, her earrings. And I learned that her daughter, whose name escapes me, styled her. She styled her in the past as well. That's what I was looking at. The red, my favorite color, and then the background singers were in white. It was just very moving. I think she did an amazing job. But does it matter that she lip synced? I mean, if I were paying for a concert, I would want my artist to be singing live. These people didn't really pay to see her. I don't know. I mean, I think I read somewhere that everyone pretty much is, they're going to lip sync because they don't want them to mess up live. So whatever, who cares? I mean, I don't think anybody really paid thousands of dollars to really see her. I think she's right on that. Who cares? And then they brought on Babyface. I wasn't impressed with him. I liked his guitar though, but yeah, I could have passed on him. But the national anthem was sung by Chris Stapleton. Now, I wasn't really familiar with his music. I do know that he sang on the Grammys with Stevie Wonder, but it was very, very unexpected. They showed the players and the Philly coach getting emotional, and it actually kind of made me emotional. I mean, I didn't tear up, but it made me stop to actually listen to his version of it. And I think it's right up, I'll put it right up there with, behind Marvin Gaye. Very, very moving. And then, of course, the lady of the hour, Miss Rihanna. Highly anticipated performance. And I think she looked beautiful. Just so peaceful and happy. She looked happy. And you can't say that about too many performers. She smiled throughout her performance. Her outfit was, I'm sure was Savage by Fenty, was very nice. The red color with the white was beautiful. The dancers wore white. They were in sync. Choreography was on point. I love the visuals, the up down. I love the fireworks in the background. I love her song choices. I wasn't too thrilled with the performance though. I expected more. I really didn't. I'm not the only one who did. But then I read that she was expecting. And I'm like, okay, well, that would explain it. But I did expect a little bit more. And what's interesting, I talked to another friend of mine who is a Rihanna fan, and she gave another take on it. She said she was very moving. She was in her queendom. She wasn't fetishized like most women are in her attire. It was just about, look at me, I'm owning this moment. And she wasn't twerking, she wasn't half dressed. It was just a nice change to see her happy and just to see her, because we haven't really seen her in years. So congrats to her on her having another child and for having the performance of a lifetime either way, because she was expecting and she was the first artist to do so. I also wanted to comment on, and I can't think of her name. I didn't really look it up, but the HBCU graduate who was the first Black person to do the signing, she signed that whole night. And you have to look her up on YouTube if you haven't already. She did a phenomenal job. So, yeah, kudos to everyone who performed Super Bowl evening. Before I end this episode, I happened to come across an article or a post that talked about the top 50 rappers of all time on Billboard. And let me just say this to start off. You're always going to leave someone off a list. No matter what list it is, someone's always going to be left off. This time it happened to be Ja Rule. Now I looked at the list, and there were probably only about a handful of people I couldn't even tell you a song that they rapped. But I can understand that he would be frustrated by that. But I don't know. I think a lot of times when people are left off, it's personal and not an oversight. But I do agree with the majority of the artists that are on there. So be sure to check that out online. And also make sure that you are subscribing to my podcast so you won't miss any of the multiple shows that I have for you weekly. Keep in mind that I am not trying to change your perspective or your point of view. I just want you to listen to Drea's point of view. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you for listening to Drea's Point of View. Remember to subscribe to this female-hosted podcast. Drea's Point of View is now available on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.